Hi, welcome to the Art of Shame-Free Living podcast. So I haven't had a podcast episode in a couple of weeks, but I left and went down to Oregon and went to a 7-day silent meditation retreat. You probably already listened to my podcast episode where I did a recap of the last one I did in the fall. And when I first went, I kind of thought this is the only one I'm ever going to do because this is going to be so hard. But as soon as I was there, I realized there was like a lot of depth and a lot more growth that I had that I knew that was going to specifically happen through meditation. And so I knew I was just going to go all of the time. So anyways, we just went to a level 2-1, which isn't honestly that different from what a level 1-1 was, but it was through Lower Light School of Wisdom with Thomas McConkie. But what I wanted to do this episode on today was the 3 things that I learned that I felt were most significant. I've struggled to figure out like how to share. I went to go post on Instagram and then I was like, oh, there's just too much to say and it's a little bit hard to explain. And I feel like my voice is kind of like my secret weapon. That's how I explain things in the world, is through voice best. So I'm here sharing my experience with my retreat there, but more specifically, what I really learned, why it was so helpful for me. I always feel so different when I come back from events like that. And this was no different. And I feel like my biggest learning was around feeling and surrender. So right before I started to go on this trip, I started to feel a lot of kind of like anticipation, but like not a good kind of anticipation, more like anxiety. Like, wait, why did I sign myself up for this? I remember how hard it is to like literally just sit and meditate on a mat all day long for a week. I don't want to do this anymore. And I felt a lot of resistance, like leaving. I felt a lot of resistance on the drive. And I went and did it anyways, obviously, but I still felt really nervous about it. And we start with a half a day on the first day, and then we get into the real day 1 the next day. After the end of the first full day, I just felt like it had been 7 days. Like it felt so long. It felt so hard. It felt like I was just continuously failing. So the type of meditation that we predominantly do, and the main focus is to kind of clear your mind and focus on your breath. And so thoughts come in and you just let them go out and you refocus on your breath, and you do that over and over and over again. And I just kept feeling like I am not getting this. It is just so hard for me. Like some people sit down and it just looked like they were so calm and so peaceful and able to sit so still, and like they were getting it and I wasn't. And every day we would have little like mini group sessions with the retreat leader, and we could ask questions about our practice and get some feedback. And so my feedback on day 1 or 2 or 3 was like, this is hard and kind of the worst retreat ever. And I kind of just want to quit. And something that he said to me really changed my perspective. He said, meditation is set up so you can't not fail. I'll say that in a different way. Meditation is set up so that you have to fail. There is no way to always win at meditation. That's why it's so hard. There's no way to just consistently always be clearing your mind with absolutely no thoughts and focusing on the breath. Like it's sent out to fail. And so then like, why? What's the purpose of that? And I started to kind of ponder on that. If I'm supposed to fail here, what am I supposed to be learning from this? And it really moved me into this energy of surrender where I realized I can't just not fail. Like I'm going to have to fail sometimes. And so I just allowed that to happen. And so when my mind would wander, I would just eventually bring it back and be like, okay, that's all right. Like it's happening. This happens. I'm meant to fail. And the more I leaned into surrender of failure, the more I felt different on the inside. I honestly don't know if anything changed in my ability to meditate effectively as far as like stick to those parameters, but I definitely felt this idea of surrender and it's totally okay. And this is the process. Like this is how it's supposed to be. I'm going to share a little story. My oldest son, he is on a church 2-year service mission thing in Peru. And sometimes when I talk to him, he's like struggling and, oh, it's kind of hard and working all day is hard and whatever. And a lot of times he feels good if things are going well and doesn't feel as good when things aren't going well. And I just told him, like, you're already winning. Like deciding to go out and do something like this for 2 years is like unheard of. Like people don't just do this. Being there means you're already winning. And this conversation that I'd had with him came to me as I was sitting on my meditation mat thinking like I was failing. My words to him came back to myself. And I thought like, how could I possibly be failing? Like I'm here at a meditation retreat. I'm here sitting on my mat, even if I wasn't on a retreat. Like I am trying. And that means that I'm winning, that there is no failure in that. And then the same perspective, almost a zoomed out perspective, came to me about like just life itself. Like, what if living life is winning? What if we've already won? There's nothing here to achieve or to do or to create. Being here is the win. And being here, like, life is set up for us to fail, right? It's just like meditation. There is absolutely no way you can do life without failure. So do we like hold on and just try to push through and not fail as much as we can and just do it ourselves? Or do we surrender until like failure is going to happen? That's actually why we're here. And maybe that's okay. It felt like a big shift for me. I might not have feel as significant as I'm resharing it with you, but it felt significant to me. And my insides felt changed just from this specific point of view. So that's number one. Number two is we talked a lot about interspirituality and specifically the snowmass dialogues. There's these 8 principles that Thomas Keating and several of his friends of completely different faiths came together and had these discussions at Snowmass, Colorado, and came up with these principles, and they're beautiful. I would encourage you to Google them. And each one of them just hit so hard, but it's basically like the universal truth that connects us all. There is some truths but between all faith traditions that just seem the same. And they kind of came together and figured out what these were. And that they were really beautiful. So we had some really beautiful discussions around interspirituality. I want to share a couple of quotes too. One is from the Gospel of Thomas. It's an ancient like Gnostic gospel. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And in my kind of like telling of that verse, it would be like the inner life, like looking inward at what is happening, what is swirling within us is the work. And as we do that, we become something different. We understand ourselves different. We connect differently. And not even become something different, but realize who we actually are. We feel different on the inside. And if we don't do that, I think those things still stay swirling and we push them down, we avoid them. And I think that's what the destruction refers to. Okay, another kind of concept that I thought was really fascinating was on striving. In North American culture, we really feel like we have to do it ourselves. It's like hustle, work, grind, do it all, get there. And this lady shared a dream that she had had. She's Christian. And so she was sharing this dream and it sounded like a parable to me as I listened. But she was walking up this dusty road and it was like kind of hilly and hard to walk up and her feet were getting dirty and she was carrying all of this laundry. And it was really hard to carry this laundry. She's like, I presume it was my laundry, but it just was falling and I couldn't catch it all. And I was just really struggling. And I ran into this man and she said it kind of looked like a man from like the wilderness, like somebody that would live in the wild. And she said that she felt like it was Jesus. And he said to her, can I help you? And she immediately said, no, thanks, I'm good. And just kept struggling up the hill and then woke up. And she immediately was like, I need to dream that dream again. I need to have a different ending. But I think that's a beautiful parable of like our culture. I think our culture is very much like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm good. I got this. I will do all of the things. We don't have the capacity to do it all. We know that we don't deep down, but it feels like we should somehow, or like everybody else is maybe. And so I think this idea of it's our works that get us there. It's us that strive. I think in Christianity, we would say, we're saved by grace after all we can do. But it doesn't mean like we have to do everything that we can. It's like no matter what, we're saved. No matter what, we're whole. No matter what, we're healed. No matter what, we're winning, regardless of all of the things that we try and do. And I think that really changes perspectives. I know it seems like it changes perspectives to be like, well, then I'll just do whatever I want. Then I'm just like off the hook and I can do anything. But I actually think that love is the only way. I think that hating ourselves forward will never get us there as much as we think that it will. And that love is the only way to truly change. It's the only matter in which change truly does happen. It's the only work that we can do that over time it really will work and change. So lastly, I will share one more quote from Thomas McConkie. This is from a book that he wrote. I can imagine a more beautiful version of myself that I know in my heart to be possible, and I plan to pursue it with integrity and tenacity until one day I have lived into that possibility and made it real. So the reason that I strive for this inner life, the reason I spend time on a mat, the reason I spend time in my journal, in coaching, in conversations, in community, is because that inner life, that inner substance that's within matters so much. It literally creates our outer reality. And I can imagine this beautiful reality for myself internally, and then I can work until I make it happen. And I'll offer that the work isn't like the hard work that we're used to. The work is quiet. The work is still. The work is inward. The work is uncomfortable. slow and it's so different than what we think that it is. And in the end, when we look back and we realize how much we've changed, how we are now after the change feels so much more familiar to us than how we were. I was looking back at 6 years ago and thinking how far I've come. And I just thought, now feels more familiar. Now feels more me. I know that this is who I've always been. And all of those little like barnacles, those like encrusted things that were on there got like shaved off or cleaned off or something. And they're no longer there. And they weren't actually me to begin with. And now I feel so much more me. And I'm excited to dive deeper and deeper and deeper and find me more and more and more. And one more last little thing I'll say is that healing is not done in isolation. There is something really beautiful that happens when you have a community of support around you. There is something really beautiful when you are witnessed by another person where you get to feel seen and feel heard and feel loved and feel connected to. And in that itself is healing. In the silence itself is healing. Witnessing yourself is healing. And I feel forever changed. I feel forever grateful that somebody else chose this path for themselves so that they could help support me. And I hope that I get to be that for people in my community, in my world. And if that's something you're interested in, I'll have a bunch of links below. You're welcome to check them out. But I would love to work with you. And if not, please find someone. Please find your community. You will feel forever changed. And in several years, when you're looking back after doing this work, you'll understand what I mean. You'll feel more familiar to yourself. That's my goal for me, and that's my goal for you. Thanks for being here. See you next time.